This is One on One. There she is, the beautiful, talented Brenda Blackmon, founder of the Kelly Fund for Lupus, Inc., and the author of a wonderful book called A Mom's Story, my good friend. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. What's the story with you? I was just saying, in all seriousness, 20 years we started working together over at My Nine, and how come you're younger than you were then and more beautiful? How's that work?
I'm sitting next to a man who looks so young. That's why.
That was the deal. We said we'd start like this.
Right, of course.
No, and actually, I always say full disclosure. It's usually because there's a fund or a sponsor-related thing. We have been friends for a long time and colleagues.
And I love you to death.
And I'm so glad you're with us today.
Oh, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, because I love to educate people about something that's so important to me.
Talk about the story. Talk about the book.
Well, Brenda Blackmon, A Mom's Story, came about because my daughter Kelly has lupus. The book, by the way, I sell them for $30. All the money goes toward lupus research, and it goes to help educate people about a disease that affects so many people. In fact, just recently you heard Nick Cannon talking about lupus, how he has lupus nephritis. It affects his kidneys, but it can affect any organ of the body. And not only women have it, but men get it too.
Right. And so tell us about Kelly. Tell us exactly what happened.
My daughter Kelly was diagnosed with lupus when she was 19 years old.
Right.
It often affects young women when they go off to college.
She was off at school.
She was in college, yes. And she was away. Her college roommate called and said, "Your daughter is sick." This was her college roommate. And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she's saying, "You know, Kelly's really very sick." And I'm like, "Okay. Do I need to cut?" She goes, "No, I think she just needs to get to a doctor. She's lost some weight." And so my brother is there. You never send, a Southern mother never sends her child away without relatives nearby. So she went to a doctor. Doctor diagnosed her with some sort of skin infection. So she was okay, I thought. Bottom line, she had to come home. When she walked into my office from the airport, I think I would not have recognized her had I seen my own daughter at the airport. Her skin was dark. She had lost weight. We immediately went to a dermatologist who said, "I think she has lupus." I'd only heard of the disease from a TV show, believe it or not, a show that we run on Channel 9. And I thought, I don't know what lupus is, and what does it mean? And I was a mom in denial.
Right.
Kelly was diagnosed soon, which is pretty unusual for the disease. Oftentimes,
it takes a long time.
Right. Sometimes
Hard
it can
to
take
diagnose.
years. Yes,
Right.
it's very. Even again, and I use Nick Cannon because people have heard about it recently. He was first in the hospital with his kidneys.
I remember.
And then there was some problem with his heart. And for people with lupus, they thought, how can you have just a little problem with your kidneys?
That's right.
And when something affected his heart later, then it was, we know.
Right. Right.
We kind of knew. But fortunately, she was diagnosed early. In 2004, she was hospitalized. I was still a mom in denial, but until 2007, when lupus attacked her brain, she went into a coma. The doctor said she would not make it.
Would not.
Would not make it. She was connected to life support. Lupus had attacked every organ of her body except her kidneys.
And what's happening for you during this time?
I'm still working every day.
You're working every day.
Working every day.
You're on the air every day.
I think it is my only connection to what is real, because this is just too unreal to accept.
So you and Harry are anchoring the news. You're doing it, and your mind is with Kelly.
Is with Kelly.
Trying to get through
I
this.
literally get off from work at night, and I go up to the hospital, and I hold her hand. I go home, I shower, dress, change clothes, go up to the hospital, and then I go back to work. And most of that time I don't remember, except that I wrote. I would write down.
So you started
every
writing?
day. I started writing.
Why?
It was, first of all, I literally would pray every day for God to make my feet move, because there were days
One
that
foot in front of the other.
I thought, I can't do this, and I was able to do that, because that's what got me through. So the book was sort of a faith-driven, and I wanted other people to know, no matter what kind of times they're having in life, you can get through it. I don't care what it is, you can get through it.
Because Kelly does ultimately, obviously, come out of it.
She does.
A miracle.
It truly was a miracle. I mean, I asked people around the world to pray for her.
I remember.
And they did, and God answers prayers. And the doctors even called her a miracle because they said, she's not going to make it. We've got to disconnect the respirator.
And so then you start the Kelly Fund for Lupus.
Yes.
And see, as I was going through the book, my wife and I were talking about it. First of all, the pictures are absolutely gorgeous. And let's show some pictures, folks.
I took all the pictures myself, and they are pictures of clouds.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of where I look up to get my inspiration.
Bob Morris, take a look at some of these shots. Take a look at this. This is one of the shots I really like here. And you wrote everything here.
And actually, the writing, too, is like tweets. And I took the pictures all around the country. And the writing is just tweets like, adjustment is necessary, transition must take place, and you have to adjust. That's just the way life is. Simple things that even children can understand, because I want the book to be just sort of a daily inspiration. Like the picture on the right was taken at Cape Cod. The picture on the left, I remember, I think was taken in the hills of Tennessee. So all sorts of different places.
Intended mostly for parents to get through those very difficult times, mostly when we are struggling and suffering because our children are struggling and suffering.
But also just for anyone to get through. Children can read it because it's written in simple words.
Right.
Children can read the books. Parents can read it to their children. It can get you through a difficult day, because no matter how difficult things are, you can get through it.
Yeah.
It's not about the traffic. It's not about jobs. It's not about stuff. It's about each of us. We've known each other for 20 years. You know you've been through some stuff. But you got through it, didn't you?
Yeah. You see me you saw a station say, Steve, listen, you don't have to come back tomorrow. We get fired, we get canceled, all kinds of stuff happens.
Yes.
And life goes on.
Stuff happens.
Stuff happens.
Yes, it does.
You know?
But I was able to start the Kelly Fund because we wanted to make a difference. The first year after Kelly came out of it, we had heard about the Alliance for Lupus Research.
Right. Talk about that connection.
Oh, my God. It's such a wonderful connection because, for one thing, the person who started it, Woody Johnson, his daughter has lupus, so he wanted to, and you know about Johnson & Johnson, if they can't find a cure, then who can, right? But he wanted to start something.
Excuse me, while Brenda's talking, put up the website, folks, so people can log on. Also, people can make contributions.
Oh, definitely.
Put it up, folks. It's a not-for-profit. The Kelly Fund for Lupus.
Yes.
Talk about it. People log on right now. What happens?
They can log on and get a book. The money goes toward research because the ALR is the one lupus organization where 100% goes toward research.
That's wonderful.
It is wonderful because, you know, lots of organizations help and they're out there and it's wonderful.
Right.
Yes, there's no administration cost.
No big overhead with your organization.
No big overhead, exactly. In fact, ALR puts on walks here in New Jersey.
That's right, there is a big one.
May 12th, Meadowlands. Put those sneakers
on.
on.
Hold on, May 12th, Meadowlands.
May 12th at the Meadowlands. ALR, it's a walk. There used to be a couple in New Jersey. Now there's just one big one. So come on out. We raise money for lupus research.
Jackie Cook, our senior producer, does the walk every year. By the way, May 12th again, Meadowlands.
Yes.
We'll put, by the way, connect it to our website as well.
Thank you.
And all the funds go?
All the funds go for ALR lupus research dollars. Because guess what? For those people out there who say, you know, I think I have found a connection between genes and lupus, or I think it's all about heredity, or I think it's all about this one gene that I found when I've been researched. ALR gets together those research dollars and says, okay, we can give you, but if you don't find something soon, then we direct those research dollars someplace else. They're determined to find a cure. And meanwhile, we're out there educating people. I'll go to a small church, I'll go anywhere, and I'll sell the books, and so I can bring back more money toward research. We're out there just getting the word out because so many people, 1 in 200 has lupus.
It is a disease that not a lot of people know about, and you are doing a tremendous public service. And most importantly, the fact that Kelly's doing well, that's what we're most pleased with. And it is just always a pleasure to see you, not just on the air, but more importantly here in our studio. Life goes on, huh?
It does. It does.
In a good way.
Thank God it does.
Let's plug it one more time. You mind if I plug?
Oh, please do.
Brenda Blackmon, A Mom's Story. It's a great story. All the proceeds go to a wonderful organization. And Brenda Blackmon, there are a lot of people in our business who are anchors and journalists and reporters, but there are not a whole lot of us who do things outside of the business that make a huge difference. And Brenda's doing it every day, so I'm honored that we are colleagues and friends. Okay, we'll be right after this. I have to kiss her now. Okay.
I'm honored to know you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Johnson & Johnson, Health First New Jersey, TD Bank, the Russell Berry Foundation, and by Community Education Centers. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and northjersey.com. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.